What's going on, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to show you some books that I flipped on Amazon that made over $250 of profit. These are books that I sold over the last couple of days. If you're new to the channel, my name is Joji. I'm a high school chemistry teacher during the day, but late at night, like right now at midnight, I buy books on Amazon and then resell them on Amazon for a profit. And if you're kind of new to how that works, I have a Discord channel. It's absolutely free. You can join that. Tons of awesome people in there helping you out. But with that said, let's get right into the video. All right, so I'm over here on Amazon Seller Central, and you can actually see that I've sold $426 in revenue today. You can see, days before that, 700, 800, 160, 880, 970, 800. So I'm usually between 5 to 800. Sometimes you have, days are not as great. And by the way, it's not actually textbook season right now. So, $426, maybe a little bit lower than an average day. But what I'm going to do is come here to the orders page, and I'm just going to go ahead and walk through some of the books that I've sold over the last couple of days and show you the profit breakdown, where I bought them, how I bought them, and stuff like that. All right, so we're actually going to start with one day ago. We sold Hydrotherapy for body workers. We sold this for $62.99. You can see that I bought this on April 3rd. And when you scroll down to the Keep It chart, you can actually see that's when this book dropped in price from $50 all the way down to $11.66 plus shipping. So I ended up picking up this book just because I had seen there's a number of sales rank drops right before that for right around $65. And I felt, hey, if this book has sold for $65 and I can pick it up for $18, that looks pretty good to me. And if I expand the historical selling data to look at that lowest use price and overlap the sales rank drops, I can basically see that this book was selling for right around $50. So I bought it for $17.65, sold it for $62, made a $24 profit. And just to show you that I actually did spend $17.65, you can see right here, there's the book. There's a total price, $17.65. All right, the next book is The Red Branch Tales. We sold this for $80.49. This one I bought a while ago, bought it April 12th. And if I view this order, you can actually see that I bought it for a total of $10.51. And if we scroll down to the Keep It chart here, this is actually a Keep It graph that doesn't look very good at all. But these are sort of Keep It graphs that I specialize in. These are books that, are longer tail, that don't sell very often, that have few sales rank drops. A lot of the times, books can have, very few sales rank drops or could be selling infrequently just because the price of the book is very high. So like this book, for example, had been listed for $300 for, 4 or 5 months. It also was kind of out of stock for a while. And so I think that's some of the reason why this book, wasn't really selling. And you can actually see that when I decided to pick up a copy, the price of this dropped from $225 all the way down to $653 plus shipping. And that's when I picked up a copy for $10.50. Now, if we expand the historical selling data over the last 3,400 days and we zoom in at the lowest use price when we see sales rank drops, you can see that back in 2021, 2022, we have some sales rank drops in the mid 30 range and then potentially some in the 70 range as well. And, if I look a little bit further than that, you can basically see, there's plenty of sales rank drops for at least 15, a little bit more than that. So in the past, I guess the far past didn't really show that great of history, but in the recent past, since there had been some pretty good sales and then it had been out of stock for a while and it had been super overpriced, I figured that picking up for $10.50 would not be a terrible idea. And, I thought maybe it would sell for like $40 to $50, but I guess my repricer was a little bit higher than the max price. So sold for $80, made a $48 profit, and I'm happy with that. All right, this next book flip is called Tansu, Traditional Japanese Cabinetry. We sold this for $43.98. And the reason why this book in particular is so awesome is because it's actually one of the books that was on, my featured video on my YouTube homepage where I say, hey, here's how I consistently buy, 5 books for under $10 and sell them for $30, $40, even $50. So this is one of the books that I actually featured. You can see that there's the book. It was listed for $4.45. I did a deep dive on this book and showed you, why I decided to buy this book back then. And, this is a book that actually did exactly what I said it would do, right? I bought it for under $10. You can see that I bought it on July 22nd here. Bought it for $8.89, which is below $10. And then we sold it here for $43.98. So that video was basically me showing you a secret sourcing strategy that I haven't shared on YouTube. So if you want that secret sourcing strategy, go back and watch that video on the main homepage. And yeah, it's this is a book that I think is going to do really great. You can see that it's actually sold, multiple times for $30 to $40, sometimes even up to $60. You can actually see, when I actually picked up the copy is when there was this repricing war that brought it all the way down to about $5. So just a great book that generally has had a really high used selling price in the 25 to 30 range. So easy pickup, made a $17 profit on that. And let's go to the next one. All right, the next book is A Very Scary Rich Story. Actually, this was in yesterday's video if you watched that, but this is a Halloween seasonal book. I bought this on eBay. I actually bought 4 of them for a total of $15.88. This was like a buy 3, get 1 free. So I was actually able to be out the door for $11.88. And then I think one of the copies I had to get refunded because it was like ripped up, so I had to return it. So basically, I picked up 3 copies for $8.91. That brought the purchase price down to $2.97. I flipped this one for $29. And if you can see that, if you look at the Keeper graph of this book over the last few years, it basically almost always inflates in price during Halloween. So it gets up there to the $20 range. And you can see that, I was able to sell mine for I think $25 the first time and then $29 the second time. We can come down here on SellerAmp and look at the orders page. Yeah, so you can see I sold one for $25, one for $29. So one was 3 days ago, one was a day ago. This is a really good sign, by the way, that we're selling these Halloween books well before Halloween. I mean, it's not, it's like 20 days or so away, but this is, I think I have one more copy of this book to sell. But if you're new to seasonal online book arbitrage, make sure you check out any one of these videos of Victor Gallegos. He's the guy who introduced me to seasonal book arbitrage. He has an awesome Facebook community group where he teaches you how to do seasonal book arbitrage. So head on over there if you're interested in that. And of course, here on this channel, we do seasonal books as well, but all thanks to Victor Gallegos. So make sure you check him out. All right, the next book that we sold is a loose leaf book for personal finance. We sold it for $61.29. You can actually see we bought this on June 3rd, and the purchase price was $25.03. So we paid up a little bit more for this book. Now we sold it for $61, made a $14 profit. So only 58% ROI, which is, not nearly as great as a lot of the other books and a lot of the, my ROIs on other sales. But one of the reasons why I was actually comfortable spending $25 for this book is because it has such a great sales rank. Basically, the used price of this book is almost always right around 50. So I knew that if I could pick it up for about 25, that was about, half of the sort of average used price, lowest used price. And generally, I like to stay, my kind of rule of thumb is try to stay about 1/3 of the price, about the 1/3 of the reasonable selling price. But obviously, that changes based upon how quickly the book sells. So for something that I know is going to sell much more quickly, has much, way more demand, I might be willing to go maybe only half of the lowest used price. So this case made a $14 profit, 58% ROI. Actually took a little bit longer than I expected to sell, but hey, that's a great return. I mean, what's your alternative investment? Put it in the S&P 500, put it into real estate. Like, that's a great return, 58% return on one product. So I'll still take it. All right, this next book is absolutely amazing. We sold this comprehensive set of review questions for radiography for $150. And what's so fascinating about this book is, one, it has a terrible Keeper graph, and a lot of people would actually not even look at this book because of the Keeper graph. It looks so bad. But the other reason is that I actually bought this for $0. You can see that I actually use rewards points from my Amazon Rewards Visa Signature credit card. So if you don't know about that credit card, make sure you check out this YouTube video on my channel. Essentially, if you get the Amazon Rewards Visa Signature credit card, you can get, I think it's like $100 to $150 sign-up bonus. It's a $0 annual fee, which is insane, which means it costs you nothing to own the card. And then also you get 5% back on every purchase if you have a Prime membership. And so for me, I use this credit card in all my book purchases. I get 5% back, and I could either use those reward points to buy more books, or I can use them to just, I can just redeem it as a statement, a credit statement on my credit card report. But in this case, I like to show people the power of this credit card. So I often usually use it to buy books, just to show people how crazy it is. Generally, it probably makes more sense just to redeem it as a credit, because, this book I could have got 5% back on this $14.92 purchase. But in any case, we bought this book for $0 and we end up selling for $150. I mean, even if we had bought it for $14.92, we would have made a $100 profit, which is 700% ROI, but we actually bought it for $0. So we actually made an infinite ROI on this book. We made $119. And again, these are Keeper graphs that I specialize in. You can see that it looks pretty ugly. Basically, this whole last year, it's kind of been as high as $1,200, but then it's dropped down to $130. And it's kind of, gone back up. There's been one sales rank drop, which appears to be at 98. And then you can see in the past, it was selling back in 2018, 2019. And kind of the reason why I bought it was back then it was actually selling when the new price was right around 50 to 60. The used prices were right around that as well. And the sales ranks were really great on that. But this is a book that largely was out of stock. But when it was in stock, we actually see a number of sales rank drops. Like, I really like how when this book came back in stock, it was only there for about a week and then it went out of stock. I really like that. It tells me that people are still out there actively searching for it. And here you can see, even though this book was available for only $19 new, there's actually quite a few sales rank drops. So it tells me that there's probably people out there looking for it. Same deal here. This was listed for maybe half a month. Someone appears to have bought it at $150. And so this is a book that, when it dropped really, really cheap down here to $10.94, I felt like, okay, I'm going to go and take a risk with this book. And I take a risk with lots of these books because a lot of them end up working out really well. And this one obviously did, right? Made $120 profit. So guys, if you're interested, I'm filming and I'm coming out with the Amazon to Amazon masterclass, and it's going to show you how to find books just like this. One of the videos is specifically how to find books just like this that a lot of people would ignore that could potentially offer a fantastic return. So if you guys are interested, make sure you stay tuned. You can sign up for the newsletter below and get notified when that drops. But I'm super excited. It's going to be awesome. And hopefully it's coming out here pretty soon. All right, the next book is called Hearing Aids. Nothing, too crazy. We sold it for $40.52. Picked this up for $11.56 on eBay. Picked this up with Flipmine. And, basically you can see this used prices in the $30 to $40 range. We're able to sell for kind of what it's normally selling for in the $40 range. Made a $9 profit, 77% ROI. I mean, not incredible or amazing, but 77% ROI. I'd never touched the book, going right to his prep center, from the prep center to Amazon FBA warehouse, and then ultimately to the customer. And I, profited $9. So bread and butter flip there. I'll take it. Let's go to the next one. All right, this one is really fascinating. Esperanza para hoy. And the reason why is because this is actually a reprint. This is a book that I sold before in the past. You can see recently I bought it here on July 5th. If we scroll down to the Keepa chart, you can actually see the few times when I bought this right here. Also bought it right there as well. And I've been able to sell this a few times for the $60 range. And this is a book that in the past has had its lowest use price right around $65, and it's had multiple sales rank drops. I think it was a little bit cheaper here in the 20s and the 30s, but I figured, hey, if I could pick it up for about $9-10 and it generally sells for 30 and maybe up to 60, I felt like it'd be a decent pickup. So I think I picked up like maybe 2 or 3 copies of this. If we scroll down to the orders button here on Seller App, you can see that I sold it once for 65 about 5 months ago, and then sold it recently again for 62. So this is a book that we made a $34 profit on, which is a 379% ROI. So a lot of the times, I might be buying books that have higher sales ranks and don't move very often, but a lot of those books have the potential for massive returns. And the idea is that if you get enough of these books where you can get massive returns, you might not have a massive revenue, massive orange bars, but you might have massive profit. And at the end of the day, right, all the books I'm showing you combined was almost $300 in profit. And it's really not even that many books, but that's $300 that's going into the bank account. Really, at the end of the day, what matters is the profit, not necessarily what the revenue is, but what the profit is. Okay, the last book that I'm going to show you is also another reprint. This is called, Agates of Lake Superior. Obviously, a niche book about something very specific. We bought this here on August 18th. And if we scroll down the Keepa chart, you can actually see that when we bought it, this would have been with Keepa deals. The price dropped from 44 down to 18. And, we can see some sales range drops in the $40 range, one at 70. If we expand the data, you can see that, I guess this book has had sales rank drops a little bit lower in the $15 range. So actually that doesn't look too great there. But this is a book that recently has become a little bit harder to find, right? Offer count's a little bit lower. There have been some sales rank drops when the lowest use price is a little bit higher. And so because we are at, historically a pretty low offer count, figured I'd pick up a copy. I think like I said, I think this is a reprint. I think I've sold this multiple times. Yeah, so you can see I sold it once for $60 a few months ago, and then recently sold it again for 65. And so this is a book that I'll be making a $25 profit on. 133% ROI. And again, one of the reasons why I bought this is because it's very niche. I can, I can see that clearly there's some number of people that want this book. I feel like the purchase price was, pretty cheap, at least in the somewhat historical past. So I feel like, it's probably a pretty low risk pickup. And, turned out to be great. All right, everyone. So that's all I got for you today. Those are some books that sold over the last couple of days. Again, join the free Discord, join a free newsletter if you're interested. Stick around. If you have any comments, let me know down below. But that's all I got for you guys today. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.